to show that the Earth is flat? Yeah, I would say that's grifting.
I would say a grifter just because he tried to get sponsorship from a certain group. Like, he tried to get sponsorship from many
group that's willing to pour money in to show that the Earth is flat. Yeah, I would say that's grifting.
And it had the same engineering.
I almost went crazy in here last night, but I think I finally got through to Geo and Rigger and Jeremy that we landed on the moon, and I think they actually believe me.
Oh yeah, we all flipped. Yeah, we're all moon landing champions now.
So we've landed on the moon. What was the moon that they landed on? Was it a flat disc? What was it?
Is it cheese or something? I don't know. It was
Mexican coal, actually.
Very jagged rocks.
How you doing, Cole?
I don't know. Dust without dust. I think I left my dog on the moon.
The thing about the grifting, it does seem like real quick the grifting like term that's thrown around. I mean, maybe some like in this kind of flat Earth, globe Earth kind of dichotomy. If I'm going to use those wordings, it does seem like there probably are some flat earthers that say it in a way, but it seems like the majority is the globe Earth folks that say that. And they're very upset about it. And they feel this whole grifting thing, even though you have individuals like MC Toon, which could be called the biggest grift of all. Like it's something he thinks is fake. He's just ridiculing people and making money. But leave that out of it. I don't need to call people grifters. I'm just saying if you're going to use the definition of the term, somebody who's latching onto a community and then running this whole thing. But nonetheless, I'm just going to say that the grifting thing, like in my viewpoint, the actual entities who are lying about the globe are doing the biggest grift on humanity that exists today. The biggest one that exists.
Prove it.
They are grifting hard. And so I find that when people who believe in the globe and they're, in my viewpoint, blind to the actual grift, they want to project it onto flat earthers that are making $500 here and there on a YouTube video or on a t-shirt sale or whatever. They want to say that those are the ones who are the big grifters and not the actual wolf in sheep's clothing that are actually doing the biggest grift in all of humanity.
Actual branch of the government.
I thought that was the dumbest branch. I thought that was the dumbest branch they ever put together.
Not the TV show, the actual
I know what
branch,
Space Force is,
okay.
and I know it's.
I just wanted to clarify because they have a TV show too called Space Force.
The worst thing any government can do is to destroy a satellite, because the minute you start doing that, you just increase the amount of debris up in space, and we're going to have a cascading effect.
Wouldn't the worst thing they do is lie and cover up the undersea cables, and then say, "Oh, it's satellite got destroyed." You know what I mean? But what about all these undersea cables? You know?
Yeah, there's lots of undersea cables.
I know. I think most
what
of the
does that have to do with the Space Force?
Well,
you get your energy. You get most of your internet from undersea. You get your
TV show. You're interrupting me now. The TV show Space Force actually flows on the undersea cables. That's how people watch it in other countries.
Yeah, I already said that. I said most of your internet goes through undersea cables. What's the problem?
So, like, what? 1% goes through Satelloons or Google? What are they called? Satelloons?
No, you call them that.
I thought that's their official name. Either that or they're called HAPs, high altitude platforms.
No.
Haps on the craps, bro. Shake them up.
Keep trying to put in, your own terms. I don't care. Where's your map, by the way? Have you got it done yet? Nope.
I have a can of map gas right here. I'm about to light something up.
So I got to roll. I got a chess lesson to teach, and then I got to get to bed.
Hey, I'm a really good chess player. I'll play you sometime. I learned to play in prison.
Move.
I learned to play in prison.
Yeah, E4, your move.
Yeah, I don't know it by heart like that. I have to look at the board.
I never have to look at the board.
That's because you're not a boring person. Everything's curved to you. There's no level. There's no true level surface. You know what I mean?
Actually, there is. The chessboard in Chess Universe is flat.
Chess Universe?
No, it isn't.
It's flat.
No, it's curved.
It has elevation changes. It's got little pits in it if you zoom in.
Yeah, it's curved.
Okay. The board actually, technically, if it was made truly plumb, all the way across, the board would actually have slight curvature.
Well, the problem is you're just too dumb to understand.
Level means curve, bro.
Dumb to understand that the chessboard is not flat?
Right.
Yep.
Oh.
How is it not flat?
It's curved.
We're just talking about the board. In fact, if I didn't use actual pieces, and if I just imagined the board and played chess that way, like on the 2D board that you see on your screen, that's truly a flat board.
Well, there are no truly flat boards. Actually, all boards are actually curvy. You just can't see them, but they are. Trust me. Believe me, the government said so.
Yep.
Very.
Yeah, you just have the right tools.
Yeah, right. You're too small.
Anyway, I got to run. Thanks a lot.
Small. You're just a tiny ant on a giant ball. Get your vaccine.
Doesn't it just make sense though that even chess, when you have like pieces on a board, a flat board, that's like the playing field? That Earth is just a massive version of that. We're all chess pieces on a much bigger board.
Pretty much. You know what I mean? I think the best globe proof that they have is the meme that says if Earth was flat, wouldn't the cats smack everything off of it or something like that? I think that's the best globe proof that I've seen lately. That's a good one.
Can we go back to the process that I was never given? I think we got the tools now, but he never explained the process of the tools that he mentioned. It's
a
weird.
painful
10 years,
process.
I've been asking the same question.
It's a
We
painful
got
process,
it
bro.
took 10 years to get the actual tools. Yeah, it's definitely painful for him to do it.
He needs a script of Vicodin before he even begins to go down that road. You know what I mean? Or some Dilaudid. Right now, I have some really, really bomb DMT. It's not a DMT pen; it's the actual powder. Dude, you just one little hit, dude, and you're like, phew. It's like, bam. It doesn't hit you till you blow it out, too. That's the crazy thing. And you taste like that extreme, like racquetball, tennis ball taste. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, impressive.
Yeah, like I notice like a lot of people are like super serious in these like servers all the time. So I try to come in there and like lighten the mood a little bit. You know what I mean? Because really, like if you're not having fun, then what's the point? You know?
I agree with that. I swear to
Like
you, like it is so strange how this place turns me. Because I have fun almost everywhere else, except for here most of the time. I have fun here too, but it really brings me down quick, like from a high to a very, very low point, depending on who it is.
True.
Like
true.
there's a couple people in here. That
I
guy
like
that just
Rusted Soul,
left.
bro. I like Rusted Soul, bro. I really like her. I really do. I really do have a crush
Hit
on
her
her.
up, bro.
Low-key.
Hit her up in the DMs, man.
I have hit her up. She
Hit
don't
her
really
up.
respond to me. I've hit her up a
Oh.
lot, but she don't really respond to me too much. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So it's
It's a
like I
wrap.
don't know.
Yeah, you
I
can't
know,
say
right?
show your tits. You got to be more subtle.
No,
You
bro.
know?
I would never say that to her, bro. No way. I would never disrespect her like that.
Let me
Like,
measure your curve.
honestly, bro, I think she's really beautiful, bro.
Yeah, I get it. I hear it in your voice.
Yeah, I'm
Just
smitten.
tell her you love her. She'll figure it out. She'll
They're so
understand.
funny. Oh yeah, totally. She'll get it. Yeah. Yeah. She's very ambitious, especially when it comes to Witsit. Fuck. That shit's
A
fucking
little
too funny, dude.
obsessive.
I know it's funny though. Like it's funny in small doses. You know what I mean? Fuck. Yeah. I bet you if I was
I don't know
Witsit and
because
I
I'm not.
responded
I'm
to
not
her,
smitten. I'm not smitten by her. So
she'd respond back if I was Witsit and if I wrote her. You know what I mean? She would respond back.
I mean, I'll
maybe you
give
should
it to you.
pretend to be
She
with
does have
it.
a cute voice.
I know I should, huh? Pretend to be Witsit. That's
Yeah,
a good
make a
idea.
sock account. Go at it.
Oh shit. Yeah. I'd probably mess that up. I try to come in the server sometimes and troll a little. You know what I mean? Like I'll try to
Just
like
a little.
globe man something, but
Just a little bit. I mean, like interrupting people for an hour straight, saying all kinds of stuff like that.
hey, that guy does not stop talking though. Like when he goes off on a monologue, he's just like basically what do you call it? What's it called when the political people just keep going on and on? A caucus
Filibuster.
filibuster. Yeah, filibuster. That guy goes off on them gnarly filibusters, bro.
Hi guys, together. What is the topic today?
Topic is: have you found curvature? And if so, where? Where did you measure it?
I never found curvature. I told you yesterday I did a channel for years about flat Earth. I wanted to disprove it, but I came to the conclusion that we are on a flat, stationary, flat plane.
We got a similar story.
You know, when you step out when you know nothing about the Earth, you would step out of your house. What would you think about the world? Would you think it is round and you go about 1,000 miles at the equator and you're turning around the sun and you're racing through the endless space around the sun? This is, I don't think you would say this. This is what we learned, but not. Doesn't fix in reality for me. And I saw measurements where we couldn't find the curve. Lasers or sound beams, or you can do a lot of techniques in good areas, especially. It's like airplanes, they start, get up, and then they go straight. They don't dip their nose down. Don't have to do it.
Why would they?
Sorry?
Why would they have to dip their nose down?
When it's a sphere, yes, you would slowly get to outer space when you fly straight ahead. On the flat plane, on a flat stationary
So
Earth.
how long have you been?
Sorry?
How long have you been a flat earther?
How long?
Left lane's a spaceman.
You would have to
Yes,
dip
sir.
your nose down left lane, but it's only 1 degree per 69 miles, as claimed.
Well, the thing is flying at altitude, right in its little end of pressure, it's just going to be happy there, and it doesn't. It's no different for either model. The way the plane flies.
You're roboting badly.
It's the same with the water. Water finds always its level, so it doesn't curve.
What about water droplets? They're perfectly spherical. If Earth isn't a globe, why are water droplets spherical?
That makes no sense whatsoever.
It sounds professional as fuck.
You got me.
I got you guys. Well,
I think it's common knowledge that planes fly slightly with the front of the plane,
it's like 5 degrees up.
coursing upwards because just down to the aerodynamics of the wings, and obviously they are traveling to minimize turbulence.
You know how a plane could make up for the curvature if it flew backwards? So then the bottom of the plane would be dipping. The back of the plane would be constantly dipping, making up for the curvature. You know what I mean? Fly backwards, right?
But you imagine if say for instance the plane had to follow curvature, it would only have to correct. Like on that correction, when the plane banks left to right, it's such a feeling. You'd obviously, it would be so obvious that's what's happening.
I think if the plane flew nose down, it might rip the wings off.
No, but it would only have to tilt down 1 degree every 69 miles. So it's extremely minimal. I mean, considering over not how fast you're going, but
well, planes are flying at like almost half a Mach, or like 3/4 of a Mach.
Pilots was talking, that they was flying above flat non-rotation Earth, because when it rotates, the landing and everything, it would get really hard, for the pilots.
Well, it rotates. You just have to treat it as if it doesn't. It's just simpler that way. You know what I mean? It does though. You just can't see it. But yeah, we just treat it as if it's non-rotating. It's really rotating though. I got all these hoes hating that I'm rotating.
Yeah, but we can't feel any of these motions or something. On the round world, rivers are floating upwards the globe. So this is something what I can't understand. Some rivers.
You just gotta trust in the science, bro.
The rest is the military thing, yes. When just get in mind when the Earth is rotating all the time, what the military has to make mathematic stuff for their rockets and shit.
Yeah.
When you have to take this into account for radar systems, you have to have a flat plane to do this weapon system and everything.
You'd think so, right? But really, you don't really need to. It's so minimal that the term line of sight is just a vague term. It means kind of close to the object. Line of sight, kind of slightly near it. You know what I mean? within the vicinity,
Yeah,
basically.
it's like submarines. Yes, they can I say speak together far away. Yes, really long distance. Yes, with their uh, with their systems. Yes, and when you would have a curve between, it wouldn't work
My theory is
so
that
hard.
they created submarines in order to put in undersea cable. I think that's why they're created.
Yeah, but they can communicate much too far. What would be possible on the globe?
Well, it's all negligible. You know, factor in the
Yeah.
just throw it all together, factor in the curvature later, and we'll make the adjustments if they need to be made. Most of the time they don't need to be made though. It just kind of works itself out. You know,
Yeah, one big thing is that we can't find the curve. We see too far. We
we're
can
just too
measure too
small.
far.
Earth is too big. You know what I mean?
Earth is big, but when it is heliocentric, you must find the curve somewhere. No
It's
matter
more
how
like
big
a.
it is.
It's more like just like a thing of fate.
I just say I knew a lot of people what was making this experiment, how far they can go straight, and we never found this fucking formula 8 inch per mile square, what is the S curve calculator. We never found the curve.
Yeah, it's there. You just can't see it. They knew it was there thousands of years ago. They used sticks to measure it, dude. They used sticks that were flat to measure the curve of the Earth with a shadow. How did they know the exact time in Syene? With a sundial. How does a sundial work? Only on a globe. You know what I mean? I can't make this shit up. Sundials only work on globes that are rotating. They wouldn't work any other way. It's common knowledge, bro.
So for me, it's the sun goes around, not we go around the sun. And it's a perfect time giver. The sun, when you look up at midnight, next day midnight, the sun would be here again. So
Yeah.
this would be work on a plane, on a flat Earth, and on a globe, of course. But
Well, basically, it's like this. Imagine you're a little ant inside of a baseball stadium, and the sun appears to be like a baseball that's hit overhead. Really, that stadium is actually rotating around that baseball, and it rotates around that baseball once a year. Although every time they hit a home run, it looks like the baseball, which is the sun, flies overhead. But really, the whole stadium is rotating around that baseball. It just appears that to be small baseball. It's really like 400 times bigger than the Earth. But you know, I hope maybe my explanation helped you understand the way the sun rotates over the Earth, or vice versa, a little bit better.
lots of civilizations had a look on this and did good observations. They know exactly where the sun and where the moon is, and in the old civilizations, the Earth is stationary and flat.
Yeah, they just didn't know how to they didn't know how to really look at the Earth back then. They were living in caves. They were cavemen. They were just barely getting over the
Kind of
extinction of
stupid.
dinosaurs. You know.
I don't think they were stupid.
Well, no, they just weren't as educated as we are today.
Yeah, but
Oh,
then
that
how is
sounds
it
that,
possible
that
when
sounds so
when we
stupid. Huh?
sorry, but when we
That
race
sounds
through the endless space, yes, how is it
yeah.
possible that we always see the same star formations like uh,
Well, actually, those stars aren't even there.
Capricorn?
Those stars exploded a long time ago. We're just seeing the after effect of the light.
How would you
You know
know?
what I mean? Well,
How would you know?
they've sent probes to those stars and they found out they weren't there. And it wasn't until halfway to the star that actually wasn't there that they found out it wasn't there. And then they had to recalculate all their configurations and everything. But every time NASA sends somebody up to space, you think they're gonna die. Like, how are they gonna make it back? By the skin of their teeth. They always do. You know.
Next thing, what for atmosphere? NASA says it's outer space. What for atmosphere?
I think it's 10 to the negative 17th torr, whatever that
Or
means.
vacuum? Yes, vacuum. Yes,
Huh? Yeah, like a vacuum, I guess.
vacuum. Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
minus. You're right. Yeah. But how could it be that we have a normal pressure system here on Earth? And
yeah.
we have above in the space this vacuum, this great vacuum, strong vacuum. How
Mhm.
could it be next to the normal pressure system on Earth without a fixed barrier?
Well, you see, when the gravity mixes with like the upper atmosphere where there's no gravity, something magical happens. It's called magic. And basically, if you don't have credentials, you don't work for a government agency, you're just in the audience watching the magic show. You know?
But this is just a normal logical knowledge. When you have a fucking vacuum next to a normal pressure system, the vacuum would suck out the air immediately, you know? So you have to have some kind of barrier between.
You'd think so, but on a big, large scale, you don't need it. It's only on small experiments that you need that barrier or adjacent to a solid container barrier. You know, but in space, it doesn't violate any second law of thermodynamics because it's on such a bigger scale. You know, that gas pressure stuff only works on a small scale, not a big scale.
For me, we can't leave this place. Also, this is for me a fact. Space is fake from the NASA.
Well, you know, I guess that's just a matter of opinion. You know, there's no way
How
that
can
you
NASA
could.
say this? Like you
Hey,
said, these
there's
are dead stars and the light is coming to us. How
it's
would they
it's
know
coming
this?
to
How
us,
would they?
but the star's gone, right?
Sorry?
I don't know. That is a really actually a really good question. How would they know that star is no longer there? You know what I mean? Did they go
Right.
faster
And
than the
how would they
light years
prove it?
ahead of it? You know?
For me, I don't believe it. For me, we have the firmament and the stars are in the firmament. And it goes around us.
On Earth as it is in the firmament, hallowed be that name.
It's like in the Bible, they say he said that he divides the water from above, from the water
Oh,
down to the water above.
Genesis 1:6.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
don't know for sure what it is, yes, but for me, it's sure we can't leave this place, and we don't have to leave it because we have everything here. We are the creation. The Earth is everything what we need. We don't need to get out of here, and yeah,
The only thing we're lacking is the chip. Once we get the chip, we'll be all good, huh?
oh no, stop with the chip.
The chip.
This is how he is calling Elon Musk. Yeah? Elon Musk makes SpaceX, yes? You saw the launches of SpaceX rockets? I wish I can show you a video. He launches a rocket and the rocket hits something in the sky, yes, and it looks like water. The rocket can't get through, and yeah, it looks crazy. The same is with water. Water never curves. When you build a bridge above water, you go always 1 meter above the water. You have a straight line. It's horizontal. The whole bridge doesn't curve. The same is with boats what are driving away on the ocean. They don't go behind the curvature. With technology, good cameras, you can take this boat completely back in vision. So it's just a optical phenomenon that it goes down. Just thinking for me, when the Earth is rotating, yes, and it's a sphere. Couldn't I go up with a helicopter straight up, wait a bit, and then land something elsewhere because it rotates, or isn't that possible? But again, the globe is done. We can make measurements. We see much too far. We don't find a curve. So yeah, you can make this experiment your own, come to this conclusion, and yeah.
Yes, Command. What are you talking about?
I was talking about measurements, what people make, long measurements, about far distance. Look if there's a curve, to find the curve or something. And they never find the curve. They did it with different technologies, and they really get far miles, but they never found the curve. So where's the globe when you don't find the curve?
Over to be found.
Or you guys would test it if the Earth is heliocentric or flat. Do you believe in agencies or NASA or something?
Believe or trust? I think NASA's a real thing. I don't think they're doing what they claim to be doing, but yeah.
For me, it's NASA completely something different. It's just they don't get out of here and they don't get in space, and this is for me all fakery, CGI, and yeah, I do not believe in space. I loved it, but I was programmed and I was educated wrongly. The cool thing is you can make experiments to find out your own, and it's much too flat and you can't find the curve. Sun and moon for me is more local and it goes around the world around, and that's why we have the time. Is a perfect time given. And it can't be something magic. You have to be contained if there was a fucking vacuum outside of the, yeah, let's say space. Has to be. And I don't think that NASA have this technology to shoot some laser out to a star or something and can say the star is dead for a million of years. And this whole stories, they only can observe it like we could. So
cohesive piece of information that proves you live on a sphere with water bending convexly and overcoming the centripetal force to fly off from the spin, and just like something 45 seconds, minute and a half. Let's go.
Okay, well, I mean, like I said earlier, the same thing that's keeping you from flying off the Earth keeps everything else from flying off the Earth. And the centrifugal force is only like 0.3% of the gravitational force that's holding you down. So there's that. And we could talk about an EQ mount and how an EQ mount specifically works. And then maybe you could explain how that would work on a flat Earth.
Oh,
Cool. Now let's.
you would have
maybe we should talk about that drop for curvature when you're looking at the mountain light occlusion from a mountain where your distance to that mountain exceeds your curvature of the Earth, meaning your drop over a distance from your curvature ain't there. That's what you need to talk about, and that's what you've been obfuscating all the time.
No, let's talk about that. Okay, so we're talking about Dr. Mike. We're talking about Dr. Mike. We're talking about Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike's observation from his house, observing the top of Pikes Peak from his house. Elevation of that mountain matches the globe model. It does not match the flat Earth model.
That's not the method. That's not the method. You can't even continue from there.
You just look at it, take an elevation angle. Just look at the mountaintop, take an elevation angle. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
The distance to that mountain from Heffer's place to that mountain has curvature in the Earth, and you're not accounting for it.
Yeah, you're
gonna have to calm down.
You're playing on explain. No, because they've gone over this for like 28 weeks or something, and obviously you have no good argument because you don't go on in the debate when they're happening on Mondays. Because I've listened to every single one, I've never heard you go on there and say anything. And then on top of it, the first thing you say is based on
match the flat Earth model.
It's not the method. It's not an occlusion.
It's not a method. It's not a method. Not an occlusion. It's the elevation angle to the top of the mountain. Period.
You're talking about something that's not mutually exclusive. If you observe the mountain
is mutually exclusive.
Or the angle, no, it's not. If you observe the height of the mountain from Dr. Mike's house, we expect to get the same thing on flat or globe due to perspective.
No, you don't.
You don't. That's why that's just the crosshair. The mountain peak is the crosshair of the theodolite.
No, there's 7 degrees difference.
No,
7 degrees.
listen. No, here's where you're fucked. Because the distance to Dr. Mike's house can be backwards derived from the timing of the occlusion and the peak of the mountain height of the peak.
Don't care about the occlusion. I don't want to talk about the occlusion.
Hold on.
It's the elevation
You
angle
can't
of the mountain.
backwards derive. No, because you don't want it, because you can't backwards derive a distance to Mike's house using globe math, but you can using flat Earth math. Therefore, when you bring up the angle of the theodolite pointed to the peak,
you need a physical mountain to occlude that light.
Yeah,
that mountain is exactly at that point.
All right, can I talk one thing to Lane? Lane?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were talking about gravity, yes?
Well, that's just an explanation of why things don't fly off.
Yeah, explanation. We asked for evidence, not explanations. You get
This is
it?
ridiculous.
You get
There's there's no way to have this combo.
But it's
Yeah,
an
because you're not being
explanation.
intellectual.
Nobody asked for an explanation. We asked for evidence, and all you keep giving us is explanations. Do you understand?
You can't measure it, you can't feel it, you can't see it. So where is the gravity?
Like a broken record. You mean you don't feel it when you work on your feet all day? You don't feel it in your feet?
I have a simple infinite regression. Let's regress into this and see where this idea comes from. How about that? Where did you get this information from that you think this is the way things are? Did you hear it from somebody? Did you experience it yourself while you were out on a mission? What?
Yeah, I don't even know what you're getting at.
Well, how did you come to this conclusion, bro? You're at the conclusion telling me the conclusion is right. Okay, now let's regress through how you got to that conclusion. If it's a series of somebody told a bunch of different people, and then somebody finally told you, that is not a conclusion of evidence. That is a trail of talking.
What conclusion specifically?
That thing's coalesced to a ball because of gravity.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how you came to conclusion Earth ball spinning space monkey stuff without ever having.
That's it. Nobody can talk to you about it because you're all over the fucking place.
Wait, hold on. I'll give you the simplest answer to your gravity argument. Things go down on a globe. Things go down on a flat Earth. There you go. It's that simple. It doesn't change anything for either. You don't necessarily need a why. That's not a falsification.
You don't, but I do.
You don't though, because things go down on a ball. So your so-called globe, and things go down on a flat Earth. That's gravity. That's it.
See,
we don't need this. We don't.
Here's an example of why we need to know this. Like, I'm going to build a dock. I'm going to use a set amount of material. I know what that material weighs. I'm going to need to float that dock. I need to know how much flotation I'm going to need to put under it, buoyant force to support that dock. I'm going to have to consider gravity in that calculation.
Here's an example as to why it works for you.
Wait. How do you calculate gravity? I'm just wondering what instrument you use to calculate gravity.
It's just 8 meters per second squared.
Simplified though. Let's super simplified. The whole gravity argument that you have is bad for a globe position. I'm just being honest here, because
it isn't, because you have to use it to calculate buoyancy.
No, listen, hold on, because you need it to explain phenomena that can't be replicated in experiment, and we just say things go down. It is how the world works. Move on. We can get into electrostatics and all that, but we don't need to, because that all is replicable. You can observe it. You can go test it yourself, and you can see it. So I don't even want to be mean to you and go down that path. You're trying to say that if you fly out into space and look on the hemisphere of the Earth, you're going to see shipping containers upside down by Australia on the side of a ball with water adhering to it, and it's because of gravity. That's a bad argument for you. It's magic. It's you just shouldn't even use it. So I'm trying to be nice and say.
So try to be nice. Leave it alone. So try to be nice and tell me how you would engineer my scenario about floating the dock without considering gravity.
Oh my God.
So you don't even need to you said it in your one sentence. You don't need to at all whatsoever. Things go down. Always. You
have to have numbers. You got to know how much buoyancy is required to float the dock. You don't know anything about. You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. I don't
need to know about the.
I don't need numbers to float enough pieces of wood underneath something to see when it's going to be buoyant or not. That's just a bald-faced lie, Left Lane.
No, I'm talking about engineering, dude. I'm talking about engineering.
Yeah, they don't always just do math. Sometimes people have to do real world application.
I'm not talking about poking styrofoam under it until it works. I'm talking about knowing what I'm going to need before I start the project.
Yeah, but we're trying to get evidence. And all you're doing is going in circles. You just ad homed me after I asked you a question, and your answer to my question was an ad
You're
hominem before they
impossible to
ran
talk
off.
to. You're impossible to talk to.
Yeah. More ad hominem. I know. It's all you got, buddy. I asked you how we get to where you're at, right, with Globe, right? Asked one question, start me out where we're starting, how you got to where you're at, and then you ad homed because you don't want to be honest here.
So
Somebody
tell me how.
told you,
There you go,
and you're
insulting
telling
me, telling me I'm a
and you
liar or
don't want to
something.
be.
Yeah, you're impossible to talk to.
Somebody told you something, right? That's Earth Globe, and you're telling me, and that's all there is to your story, really. That's
So
why you don't want
how
to be
would you go
honest.
about? So tell it. How would you go about engineering a large, like a marina type dock system, without considering buoyancy and what it would take to float the dock?
Can I beta test your
Pylons,
honesty though
dude.
before we get into engineering?
Pylons.
Left lane.
Hold on, pylons.
Can I
I'm going
beta
right
test
into
your
the
honesty?
We're not
diagram.
going to test my fucking honesty. We're not going to. I'm not testing your honesty. We're not going to be testing my honesty.
It's right on. It's relevant to the conversation. It's a simple question,
No, it's horse crap. So it is.
and I would ask for like a moment. I would ask for a moment silence before you answer it, so you can think about it. On what percentage? What percentage would you say that you take the globe belief on faith of what other people have said to you versus the percentage of known factual evidence that you believe that it's a globe, that makes you believe it's a globe? Like percentage based faith versus fact. How much faith do you have that makes you believe it's a globe? Say 50-50, 70-20.
You know, that's such a vague point. I think that test a man's honesty would be a black and white question that's a yes or a no kind of thing. I don't think that me giving percentages of what evidence do I have that proves it versus how much I take on faith. That's a difficult question to answer.
I think that's a question you should answer
Okay,
to
that's
yourself
fine.
when
You
you're
don't
doing some spiritual reflecting, bro. That's a question you should answer yourself when you're doing reflecting.
Oh, I've got
Well,
enough for
but
me.
I'm
I
just
definitely
saying,
have enough for me.
From experience, I changed my mind at some point in my life, right? Listen, I'm 37 years old, and I've been through a lot of life experiences because of the situations I've grown up in. And at some point, I came to a conclusion that I was wrong about this, and it didn't feel great at first. It sucked, but I had to ask myself, why did I believe it in the first place? And I had to really come to that conclusion that, holy cow, 99.9% of why I believe that I lived on a spinning ball in space, it was just faith. I came to that conclusion myself. So
No, I don't know.
if you really think about it for a minute, how many things you think you have evidence, but obviously it's not as concrete as you'd like it to be, because you can't just simply present it within 5 minutes to this other gentleman and however long you've been in the conversation.
That's no way to judge it. I mean, I'm driving down the road and we're on Discord, man. You can't judge me based on my ability to present that. So the thing is, especially within all the conversations, the evidence that supports my opinion of the shape of the Earth far exceeds any that supports it being flat.
Are you in an echo chamber? Do you look at the opposing views? Like, have you even gone through schooling Globers? I don't care what everyone thinks about Witsit. The information on there is based.
I disagree with that.
What?
Have you gone through it, though?
Gravity on a merry-go's roundabout. Where's your gravity there?
Yeah, I've watched Witsit stuff.
Weren't you just saying Witsit's like the most dedicated flat earther? Weren't you just saying that earlier, like a half hour ago? And then he just said
that doesn't mean I agree with him.
But he's saying regardless of what anybody feels personally about Witsit, his arguments on the flat Earth are sound. That's what he's saying. You're like, I don't know about that.
That was speaking. It doesn't mean I agree with him, though.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm just trying to pick like someone who's been around for a long time that would be the furthest opposing view from the globe, with detailed information that can't be picked apart as easily as other people. And that's just an easy one to bring up. So if I were to ask, like, have you really listened to the opposing view, or are you in an echo chamber? That's a fair question to just say, did you go through schooling Globers? Because it's one topic at a time with the best steel man for each point.
And as far as the echo chamber goes, I've been part of this server since it started and beyond. So yeah, this is more like my Discord home. So I've not been in an echo chamber.
No, that's good. That's fair. I respect that. The glutton for punishment.
You can calculate buoyancy without G, bro. No problem.
This is interesting, though. The dude gave you 45 seconds for like evidence, and I'm still waiting for it.
They can't. The globe is dead, man. Really.
And, bro, and this is almost 40. It's almost 40 minutes after that.
The server's been around for a couple years now, and he said he's been on the server since the gate. So it's like you don't have any excuse for your ignorance. You mean? At this point, you've heard all the arguments. There's no excuse.
Well, no, there is an excuse. They weren't listening while you were talking, so that they could just wait for you to shut up, so they could just talk. That's it. That's all that's been happening. Because they can't steel man anything I ever say back to them. They say, well, it doesn't really matter. Well, then why are you talking to me then? Why are you here debating if it doesn't matter?
I don't hear you presenting anything to Steelman.
I'm not talking to you. So shut up.
You know what though? They are cute though. They are cute. They make good pets.
No, they're not, bro. I got poisonous snakes cuter than them.
Anyway,
No.
left lane's been around a while. He gives the thing that his evidence or whatever that things work, right? Like gravity, the formulas and all that work. So that's his proof that it must be true. So that's fair to him, right? He's driving a truck right now, so he can't really do a presentation, but he can tell us what his best proofs are, or best evidence, or whatever. Something we can go check on or maybe replicate. I find that hard to do, other than the formulas that he uses for buoyancy and density. I'm not sure little g and big G are the same thing in that context, but he can use that formula to know how much flotation to put under a thing of wood, So I guess that's enough for him to prove gravity. It's a stretch for me.
It proves the globe. It proves the globe.
Well,
that's really
gravity is
stretch.
part of
What's
proving a
the
globe.
device?
That's their big G. I mean, that's their god, right? Big G.
That's the G that they wear on their apron when they put their white gloves on, right?
Masons? No.
You don't need little g to calculate. If you want the buoyant force in newtons, yeah, then you multiply it. But you can calculate it in pound force or kilogram force without using 9.81 meters per second squared. I put it up in the text chat.
Measure it, you can feel it.
You just divide by
What
g.
he's saying is you can use it, so it must be reality to him. Like you can use it. It seems to be used a lot in different formulas and calculating this and calculating that. So that's why he says it's true, to be fair to him. Like, that's his opinion.
No, I know. I posted the formula. It is true. It's in the formula. But you can divide it out to make sense. Like, as an engineer, if I tell you to design me a vessel to carry a 10,000 kilogram load. Okay. You see what I gave you? I gave you the cargo capacity in mass, kilograms. When you calculate the buoyant force using G, it's going to give you the force in newtons, right? Which F equals MA. You're going to have to divide out the A again, right, to get kilograms. Cool. So if you just work it out in kilograms, get rid of the A from the beginning. So like the formula is F, the buoyant force, F of B equals rho, the Greek density of the fluid, rho GV. So that little g divided out on the right side. So you get rid of it on the right side. So it becomes F divided by G equals rho V. You see? And that will give you an F divided by G equals M, according to Newton, right? Equals mass. So now we have mass force equals rho V. That's it. Done. We got rid of G mathematically, and it will give you the numbers and something you can actually make sense of it. You go that way, you just calculate the volume, be like, yep, this can carry 10,000 pounds if it is placed in, salt water versus mercury versus whatever. Because the density in the equation is the density of the fluid that you're displacing, right? Archimedes version.
So do you think gravity affects things that are like in the water?
Yeah, but can left lane say if he's satisfied with Cirrus?
Yes, if I'm looking for the number of, say, 55-gallon plastic drums, all the variables will cancel out, and you'll end up with a number representing how many drums.
Well, we're talking about with Earth, man.
Doesn't gravity act almost the opposite in water as it does on Earth, like on land? Because if you dive into a pool, it pulls you back up.
With many things, it actually acts in opposite.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Back to Newton. I think just the globers present the physics in a weird way. Okay, real physics. All right, there's two forces. You got, let's say, the gravitational force, whatever, vector downwards, pulling you down. At the same time, because Newton said every force has, or every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So now we have actually a force pulling you upwards too. It's called the buoyant force. And which way you go is based on which one is greater. Okay. So if the forces are equal, okay, and now because if you're standing on the ground, you have to take in calculation the ground force reaction. Okay, and whichever way the forces are greater, you're going that way. That's the direction of motion. Wherever the force is greater. Whenever the summation of forces equals 0, equals no motion. That's called statics. When the summation of forces is greater than 0, now you've entered the realm of dynamics in engineering. And that's what makes the difference between statics and dynamics.
So do you concede now that that globe and gravity has nothing to do with building a dock?
No, that isn't what was just said.
That is exactly what was just said. He took gravity out of the equation.
You started with it. You had to start with it. You had to consider it, right?
He didn't have it in the beginning. He didn't consider something that didn't. But I mean, yeah, because it was brought up. If you start with algebra.
Look, it all goes back to F equals MA. If you want your numbers in newtons, which you can convert later to whatever you want in forces, but that's in force, right? You will multiply the mass times 9.81 per meters per second squared. Okay, if you have that term, and of course it's going to make no sense. I do not know what a million newton is. Nobody does. So in order for you to comprehend that, you divided it by 9.81, and then it will give you that value in kilograms or kilogram force. Like in the engineering books.
So we can concede that the dock can be built without the Earth being a globe and without gravity being taken into account. Can you explain that device and how it works and why it proves a globe that you were talking about? Because I do want to be polite, and you never got to explain that.
No, he's actually considering the downward acceleration. He's not saying what you think he's saying.
No, that's just weight.
Exactly.
It's not downward acceleration. It's nothing to do with gravity. It exists anyway.
Yeah, the weight or the force that the material puts downwards on the earth. Like when you're standing on a surface and you're not sinking. Okay, you're absolutely still. You are putting force on the earth, but the earth can reply that force right back at you. Okay, and whenever that material cannot give you an equal and opposite force to your foot, now you're sinking. Now you're going downwards, or you broke the ceiling, right? Which now
footprint, right?
there's motion now. Footprint, the same thing happened. Actually deformed underneath your feet. Yeah, it did deform.
Unless
Newton called it the law of motion for a reason. It wasn't. He even said it was ridiculous to call it gravity because it wasn't like a force.
Walter Lewin, right? Left lane, 10 to the 36 times stronger with the electrostatics.
Yeah, and then you got to consider the proportionality of mass to that equation.
Right.
I mean,
the problem is
it's like a balloon you can rub on your head and stick to the wall, and it'll stick, right? The electrostatic force is overcoming the gravitational force on that little balloon. But you can't do that with a basketball because the basketball has too much mass, so gravity outweighs the electrostatics.
Unless it's a big basketball and you fill it with helium.
Yeah, physics scales.
Then NASA got to set.
But NASA probably owns that helium that you're borrowing, that you're renting. They'll get it back from you
Left
too.
lane, what's the device? What's the device that you were talking about that proves that we live on a globe, and how does that work? Why does it prove?
Is it battery powered? Is it battery powered?
EQ mount, yeah, the EQ mount for like setting a scope up to track stars or whatever.
So how does it prove that we live on a ball?
Well, with a flat Earth with the stars moving in a circle around the Earth, centered at the north, it would have to track on two axes, which it doesn't. It only tracks on one axis.
Yeah, but you're missing a major point there. Generally, because of where we're allowed to commute and explore, we can assume that things are going around a center point. But I don't think at this point, how long flat Earth has been back in the mainstream, that there's many flat earthers that subscribe to the Gleason's map and being in the dead center of everything and assume that there's some end with a dome that's touching down and that's the limit and we're in the dead center. No one assumes a center. I'm pretty sure we all agree that the Earth is massive and we can't possibly know its dimensions or where we are on it. We couldn't verify those things. So to have assumed axes of what should be based on what you're picturing in your head, it doesn't matter. It's not. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think just the fact that I can navigate with my application in my airplane and get to where I'm going, to within 12 feet of accuracy is pretty significant.
It has nothing to do with
Dunning-Kruger. I don't think it's Dunning-Kruger. I don't think it's Dunning-Kruger. I don't know what it is, but it's similar to that though.
Well, I think Dunning-Kruger, if you claim to be a pilot that knows how to navigate, I think you probably wouldn't be able to get to where you were going on paper, right?
Pilots are on autopilot.
I do got a question. You use GPS there, left lane, right?
I do, but when I fly cross country, I do it on paper. I do it old school, stick and rudder. I don't rely on anything electronic to do my flight planning. I use my electronics to fly. But on my leg, on my kneeboard, I've got all my paperwork in case I lose power. I can still navigate.
Okay, so you're using
flat maps.
Well, yeah, I was about to say you're using flat paper. What happened to the globularness, man? Why aren't we accounting for that in our maps, in our movements?
Oh, it is. It is accounted for. It's distortion.
Oh my God.
What's the longest flight you've done so far, left lane in your new plane?
About 300 miles. 300 miles the furthest I've been.
What kind of plane is it?
Not quite cross country. 300 miles, still a long way.
Well, yeah. I mean, your qualifying flight is 150. That kind of anything over 50 nautical miles is considered cross country.
Oh, I got you. I didn't realize that. We flew yesterday. The weather's been so beautiful here.
What kind of plane you got, bro?
My brother has a Tiger. What do you have? You have a Cessna, or I forget what you told me?
Yeah. I just bought the plane that I trained in, the 172, and I also am buying the training outfit, the company, and so I'll be the owner of a Magic Valley Aviation here next week.
Oh, nice!
Congratulations, dude.
Cool. Shit, yeah. Nice.
Amen.
As a business owner, I respect entrepreneurs.
Are you in Texas? I'm sorry. Are you in Texas or somewhere? Forget.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay, good.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get out of this damn truck.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm driving. Well, I'm in my truck right now. I'm not an 18-wheeler, but I drive so much.
I don't ever actually drive anywhere. I just travel. I travel. But if you're in commerce, I guess you do drive, right? You're driving because you're for commerce, no?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Flat Nasty. I play that game real hard. I have a ministry.
Right.
I have a ministry,
Hey,
pitch trust.
for the guys in the chat, I'm passing LIGO right now. Livingston.
Nice.
MotorcrossDaddy, if you ever need some help, holler at your boy Cuddles.
Help with sovereignty?
Yeah, I'm the guy on the topic around here.
Yeah, man. I put my money where my mouth was a few years ago, so I'll give you a little bit of a testimony. My wife hates the whole flat Earth thing. She doesn't like seeing me talk about it or spend time on it or whatever. And I get it. Like, yeah, it sucks. It's hard, but she's come around a little bit more. But what was happening was, it rocked my world for a couple years. So I don't like sounding dumb. So I had to dive down every question I had or every new piece of information. It was just addicted. And I drive a lot. So on my drive. So she kept saying, why aren't you doing something that's more productive for our family? So I'm like, okay, well, I love this other rabbit hole about our financial system. And I switched gears. I said, I need to prove to her that I value her and our family, our 4 kids. So I went down the whole rabbit hole deeper than I ever have with the financial system, put my money where my mouth was, got a financial coach that's in the sovereignty and investing and everything. And, multiple 5 figures over a couple years in that community. Then I found this friggin' phenomenal lawyer because the business that I own is really heavily regulated. I'm in Jersey, so they're super, super strict. And I was having a hard time finding a way out of the Babylonian IRS system with a business that's so heavily state regulated and tethered and blah blah blah. So, and I said I'll never use a lawyer again. I'll never need one. That's attorneys are against you, not for you. All the sovereignty stuff. This guy is fucking incredible. He's so good. I could link at least 1 or 2 YouTube things from him that he put up recently. So before that, I had with my old coach, I built 2 trusts. My wife revoked her election. She actually got an approval letter back from the IRS for revoking her election. And mind you, this went from her hating any of my conspiratorial stuff to her hearing the possibilities and me showing her evidence about sovereignty side. And she lit up like a light bulb and went full bore with me. We have 100 grand in crypto. We have another 50 grand in stocks. We've already doubled that in the past couple years and continue to play this whole game. And then she revoked her election with the IRS. Her dad has an MBA, super successful in the business world, and she had to break down her paradigm and get with me on this. And the lawyer, through the lawyer's help, I kept praying to God, what do I do? Do I stay with this $1 billion company I have a salary with and work my way up? Is that better for the family, or do I continue my path on my business? And I got crazy answers right away. Well, actually it took months, but I got big answers. Like, for instance, I got a work van, $12,000 work van on Kelley Blue Book for $500 dropped in my lap randomly from changing tires on my car at a tire shop. And it was just my answer from God. I need to build my business. So I found this lawyer, talked to him, and I already had 2 trusts built. I had multiple brokerages set up with my trusts, ecclesiastical, irrevocable, common law trust, which I take capital gains tax free, right? And then I realized I didn't know how to start my business without being tethered to the state. So the lawyer built me a ministry, what I call our family legacy trust, a business trust for my business, a business trust for my wife's work, a couple unincorporated associations, and then I also did my business as a nonprofit corporation. And that gave me the ability to tether the license to the business for the state. And I don't report anything. It's all 508c1a, 501c3 status. So I literally report nothing because they're all, every one of my entities that I live out of are integrated auxiliaries of my family ministry. And then on top of that, the way that I do my bookkeeping, I don't make any money on my entities anyway. So if I ever had to report anything, or actually, for instance, I do construction, so people submit 1099s for me. So when they submit 1099s, obviously because of our revoking our elections, my straw man doesn't report, but the business reports anything that other people reported on it, and it doesn't make a profit anyway because it owes franchise rights and lease agreements and things like that to our integrated auxiliary trusts from our ministry. So it's like a friggin' genius method out, because even if you get battled for not reporting anything, you can report all you want. But yeah, there's more to that. It's just kind of like past 2 years of my life that all came from flat Earth, mind you. So whoever's in here that believes in a globe, if you really want to expand your paradigm, especially if you're an entrepreneur buying airplanes and you want to see what's really possible in the world, you should speculate a little further on what you believe to be true, because I would have never thought in my wildest dreams that it was true that I could send a letter to the IRS telling them that the straw man isn't me, and they're going to send a letter back and say, okay, never talk to you again. Thanks for your previous contributions or acquiescence. So
Well, bro,
I'll do a little dive.
I'm the guy that normally talks about this stuff, except for the difference is I don't file stuff with the comptroller. I advise people to go read the Articles of Confederation before they consider filing anything with the IRS, because the articles tell you that you need to start a PMA for whatever you want to do. If you're an American, start a PMA, figure it out, do it yourself. Stop relying on the system.
Yeah, I have several people in our group that do the PMA route as well. I do agree with the PMA route. I've looked into both forms, both structures, ways to set up your tether to commerce, because we do have to operate in commerce. Unincorporated associations, what works better for me and the way I operate my ministry.
Right. But you can do so. Here's what's fun. So all the licensing stuff you have from the system, if you have a PMA, say you were a dentist, right, and you had your license from the AMA and all your accreditations from the college. Once you have your PMA for your dentistry practice, you take your licenses and you put them into the PMA, and then you put a lien on the PMA, and that protects you from the AMA stealing your license.
So that's not a state. That's not a business license with the state, though. Now, saying that,
I know.
The business.
But if you have a PMA without some type of something, right, they're going to come down even harder, and they'll probably just shoot you, which is stupid, but that's organ transplant, things like that. Dentists don't have this problem.
So what I mean by, I can go get my business license from my straw man's license with the state under an unincorporated association or a PMA. The rub to that is it's going to take about 2 years of battling to get through to that. It's not worth it to me. The opportunity cost is too high, because meanwhile I could have made several six figures.
Well, say there's a dentist that wants to change up how things are going. He doesn't like the AMA being involved in his business model as much as they are. And they really are involved in his business model quite a bit, actually. Way more than they legally should be. So he's got the land, he's got the money for the building, and he's got his licensing from the state. He just starts his PMA, puts the house or the land, the building, and his licenses in there, and now they can't touch him without a real legal claim. So normally the AMA will come after you if they don't like you. It's become a political assassination tool.
Makes sense. It makes sense. And just so you know, trusts are stronger than PMAs. So if you have everything in trusts and you have your trust structured in a way that you can only have one questioned, you also have a pretty good footing.
Well, this is see, I'll talk about stuff that I will teach privately. Absolutely. This is one of the things where private trust and PMA, they both go hand in hand. And this is where the stuff gets really fun about protecting yourself, your assets, and your family.
100%.
Funny enough, I learned about trust for the first time when I was buying silencers, and you had to develop a trust to own a silencer. That's the federal government required it. And that's when I started inquiring about trust. And man, did I fall into a rabbit hole like y'all are talking about. But you're exactly right about trust. People should abuse them because that's what the rich do. And you can learn from that. But you have to be careful state to state. Don't get advice about what happens in California. It's not the same with trust that happens in Louisiana or something. So be careful.
Well, I'll give
that you don't tether it with the state. We're talking constitutional, common law, ecclesiastical. It's essentially worldwide. When you build a certain type of trust, the only reason I mentioned the state was because of state business licensing under an entity. But aside from that, our trusts are common law, ecclesiastical. It goes worldwide.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's international law.
That's correct.
This all falls under international law, and this is where it gets really fun. So I say, I love talking about law with you guys, because a lot of you guys are in different countries, and I do want you guys to live a good life. I want everyone to live a good life, right? Free from oppression. But it is everywhere right now, so
I respect that. That's what took us on this path.
Right, but see, normally people don't like me talking about law because they think it's boring, and it's about being a grown-up and being responsible for your country, man, and your actions and how that country is steered because of your actions. Good God. If we're not responsible, then what are we?
You know, it's I don't say it in a negative way, but it's a thing. Don't cast pearls before swine. And that's not to say call people something derogatory. The background meaning of it is just that people are going to come to their own realizations when they are. We're out there as a conduit from God to explain, to at least put the information in people's faces and minds and plant the seed and walk away and don't create an enemy and don't upset anybody. And if they wind up having that come to God moment and realizing that there is fictitious entities leeching on their life force and their energy, and they want to go down that path and figure out how to free themselves from that feeling that you have that you might not even know you had, then so be it. If not, so be it. Either way. But we should plant those seeds. Don't ever stop talking about it just because people don't like it.
How new are you to the debate scene, bro?
I've never debated anybody.
Wow. Me and a lot of the people in this room have been around this debate scene with the flat versus the helio cult, right? Nature and reality versus Narnia for a decade.
I've been a flat earther for 4 years, but I have obviously, I went through my phase, which is why I was a little bit passionate to come on and say, don't do it out of ego. But I did have my egoic phase where I was like, I don't understand why people can't see what I see off of a little bit of simple information. And I was an asshole to people online and debated them, through text or on some Discord channels, whatever. I went through that phase and I realized that it was just lower in my vibration. And I'd rather just plant a seed when I have the opportunity to plant a seed and then explain it further if there's any interest and move on. And if anyone's super toxic, I like to exercise my mind. I want that, like I crave that little bit of a debate sometimes. And I want to hear someone else's point of view and why they think what they think. But I can't get super aggro about it anymore because it just lowers my vibration. So I don't really do the whole.
I was supposed to debate an attorney in here like a year ago. I think he was a Glober. The poor guy, he got all flustered because I was talking about law, teaching these people here what I have learned, right? That goes beyond what they talk about in school, really, way beyond. And he didn't like the fact that I was using the Latin terms and correcting things that the courts illegally do and showing people how they're being screwed. So I challenged him to a debate. It's like, let's see which one of us is better at law, right? And never showed up. I would take any comer from any law school anywhere in the world on American law.
And that American law stretches further. I mean, once you get into CFR and consumer law, the codes are worldwide, essentially. People don't realize that.
It's all UCC, bro. Most of the stuff UCC. Most of what people are talking about most of the time is all admiralty law, which is what the inferior court judges, because they don't actually teach law in law school anymore. They stopped that in like the 70s. Because they don't teach you law anymore, these inferior court judges, like the city and the county and your local stuff, the stuff you see all the time, they don't know diddly.
No. And I wish my lawyer would come on and debate someone too. They won't debate him though. He was originally he was a partner in a firm that was a representative for Walmart. Like he was in the system deep, and he had he's also a flat earther, which he doesn't talk about like major. I caught him calling us on the plane in one of these videos I'm posting here, and I texted him. I was like, dude, I really respect that, and his answer was great. I'll actually read it to you. But yeah, I'd be interested to see a lawyer debate a lawyer, because if a lawyer is on like accredited, he explains that he doesn't want to be accredited. It's just what the system is forcing him to do to help people like us. So he totally left the partnership. He doesn't.
But they stop you though. Corpus juris secundum, Article 5 or Article 7, Section 5 clearly states what the attorney's role is. But if you go deeper back into the Constitution and into the law of nations, which the judiciary is supposed to be following in the first place, which they don't know that. Irony, they don't know their own history. We wouldn't have all of these problems.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing with the globe. It's you pass this test on these books, on the information from the book that we tell you to read, and you're never going to have enough time to read the rest of the information in the books unless you bite the bullet and find it on your own and then think about it for yourself. But people don't do that because they go to school and they have just enough time to read the information that they're told to read, to answer the questions in the way that they're told to answer, to get the bone like a dog for doing the tricks. And then once they get out, they have the loan to pay off, so they have to go to work. And of course, they need a little bit of time to enjoy themselves. So the system wins that way.
Does your buddy understand the tricks with all the securities and all that and the bonds?
Honestly, I don't know. That'd be a question for him. I said I forgot that. So November 3rd, right before my birthday, I said I forgot to add. I was very stoked to hear, quote unquote, on this plane we live from you. There's a difference in reading Genesis from understanding it. And he answers me, spot on, brother. The stuff is in black and white. We've been told and played in terms what this world is really about. I get sick of people speaking what seems like truth and then somehow weave it into the idea of living on planets. I lose interest in their message after that. And he did a smiley face. So like that's my lawyer. He's a fucking man.
So all of this is an effort in service of not paying taxes, right?
No, it's deeper than that, brother. I like that's what will get your wife on board is saving money because women want the best for their kids and they don't have much bandwidth beyond that. But what comes deep from the deeper
kids too, but
yeah, I do too, of course. That goes without saying, but typically like men's bandwidth is build a business, create the income, keep the woman free, and pass wisdom on to your kids. And it's always it seems to me like guys are more enthusiastic about learning new things constantly, where women want to shut off on their free time and watch something that is meaningless just to turn their brains off. You know what I mean?
No, I would disagree with that wholeheartedly, but more on like the sovereignty thing. Like at the end of the day, it is to avoid taxes. Like
no.
What else are you doing with it? What else are you doing?
No, it's not about taxes.
No, it's not about taxes.
I'm tax exempt, bro. I'm not avoiding a tax. I'm tax exempt. The thing is avoiding taxes is a crime, right? If you owe something and you're not paying it, I don't owe a man a thing. I gave back Caesar what was his, and I only have that which God gave me. That's it, buddy.
Yes, this is a very good semantics difference between what I said. Yes, this is.
Well, yeah, I gave back the driver's license. The driver's license is from Caesar. It's from his kingdom, one of his subsection, sub company
and you don't want to be under their authority, and you don't want to pay Caesar's taxes, so you have to find ways to do that. I understand. It's not complicated.
What are you talking about? You don't get it.
You don't understand. Yeah,
well,
you have
explain to me how it goes beyond that.
How the system is built. That's the problem.
I understand the system is bad, and that the little guy needs a help, but that help is avoiding paying taxes, right?
The system isn't bad. It's how you interact with it is wrong, my man.
The best way to interact with it is to avoid paying taxes.
Cooper,
I don't care.
Not paying taxes.
I'm so afraid of just saying yes. I don't want to pay the fucking taxes. Nobody likes taxes. Everyone empathizes with that.
I pay tax every time I go get food. Every time I go to the store for socks, underwear, shoes, anything that I get, gasoline, I pay tax. Sales tax only.
Oh my God!
I only pay sales tax. That's it.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Income tax. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any income.
Where does income tax go, Cooper?
It goes to the government.
Yeah, but deeper, like what does it do for any normal living person?
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
it goes to the
I understand the broader argument of why it's okay to avoid paying taxes where legally possible. I'm not disagreeing with that. I don't understand why you guys are so avoidant of saying yes. You don't want to pay the tax.
No, yes,
bro, you're using the wrong terms. Avoiding taxes means you have an obligation.
I understand that you don't like my semantics. I believe that you understand what I'm saying when I say it.
Bro, Cooper, this is the Supreme Court telling you this.
I'm not a lawyer.
Avoiding, this is the actual criminal law in the code. The Supreme Court says if you are avoiding tax, that means you have an obligation, a contractual obligation. I don't have any of those. I'm not an avoider. I don't have an obligation to avoid.
So when I say avoid taxes in this context, what I mean is recategorize yourself and your businesses in such a way that taxes do not apply to you.
Yeah, it's a PMA.
Yeah. Okay, so when I say avoid taxes, that's what I mean. Do you understand that now? Stop talking about this?
Yeah, no, can I agree to Cooper? I agree with you. Cuddles, yes. I agree with you. Cuddles is obviously deep in this, probably the most knowledgeable in the room about it, right? So he has a little bit of an ego attached to the explanation of it. Cooper, what you're saying is correct as well. And to simplify, we could just say yes. But when I was saying no, I wasn't trying to be argumentative. I just want to explain a little bit on, like, from a bird's eye view, if you've never been involved in this. Once you learn something, you can't unlearn it, okay? So, like, for instance, with my kids are the driving force that